or the pop-up button, and it opens up a nice chat room where a great community of people hang out, and you can listen right there while listening to the show.
Yeah, there's a lot of great stuff going on there. So we appreciate you joining us on every place that we offer for that to happen, whether it's listening live on the radio or listening online or being on the website or in the chat room, whatever it happens to be. We like it all. I've got something that's pretty interesting. There's scientists. This is the stuff that scares me, Jay. I'm telling you because we see things in movies and we say, "Wow, imagine if that ever actually happened." And
like when New York City got taken out and the Avengers saved it.
Yeah, well, that one I don't think's happened yet, but I've got one that actually is happening now, and I'm a little bit concerned about this because there's scientists at Yale University that have figured out and have managed to successfully bring the brains of 100 slaughtered pigs back to life.
First off, that is incredibly scary, and I can't even say like that's impressive. That's terrifying. First off, if they were slaughtered, what's the last thing they remember?
Well, they can't even figure out what the effect of this is yet. But what they did is they reanimated these brains, kept them alive for 36 hours. They started to die off again after 36 hours. They couldn't keep them alive longer than that. They believe this same process, this same procedure, will actually work on humans. And that is scary to me. They see the process. Scientists look at this as a way to use deceased components, whether it's a brain or otherwise, from cadavers or those that have passed on, to study how they can better repair and affect human organs when they're outside the body. And they think this will lead to huge medical advances. Now, the pigs actually never regained consciousness, as far as they could tell, but the team actually believes it could be possible to restore some level of awareness at some point as they get better at this. Clearly, this raises all sorts of ethical dilemmas.
Well, of course it does. And don't get me wrong, there might be positive aspects to this. If somebody gets terminally hurt or whatever, and they're able to do this and then transplant the brain or whatever into something else, I mean, it opens up worlds of incredible possibilities medical-wise. But it also terrifies the life out of me. It really does.
Well, this is what I'm talking about. We've seen in movies where we're not far off from a zombie apocalypse when we start talking about reanimated brains.
This is very much true.
Do they have a soul when they get reanimated? Do they have the components of life as life was created originally?
And that all depends on where's your soul? Where is it? What part of your body is it in? Yeah. And they say that they never really regained consciousness, but how do they know that for sure? Or are they just saying it never really woke up?
Yeah, I think what they're saying is it never displayed, it wasn't moving arms and limbs or whatever, what have you. It's a pig, for God's sake.
But an ethical question on this: if they start doing this with human beings, you pass on, or you're supposed to pass on, and they do this to you, are you sitting in a limbo where?
Right.
It opens up some seriously terrifying things. If you're a firm believer in heaven and so forth, and you're expecting to go there, but now you can't because your brain has been reanimated. Mm-hmm. I don't know. That is a terrifying thought to me.
Yeah, there's we keep crossing these boundaries, whether we're talking about AI or we're talking about reanimated brains, or we're talking about growing and creating new species in a test tube. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things here. An old school thought would be saying, you're playing God. A lot of people still believe that's the case. And boy, I tell you what, I think we've got a lot to think about before we start continuing down these paths.
Well, and you and I have talked about this many times. Science, of course, will be the death of man, if not, well, humankind, I should say, in general, if not meteor, an asteroid or something else. But I mean, it's just with everything that they're designing, whether it's things like this, whether it's building a nuclear device the size of a suitcase and smaller. I mean, science is gonna be the death of humankind.
Well, technology seems
also helps keep us alive longer, but it's going to kill us.
It's a paradox.
And now they're going to be kill us, but keep our brains alive. I don't know. It's a big circle.
It's a vicious cycle. And I tell you what, talking about animal communication tonight is going to be a bit of a relief as opposed to talking about this particular topic.
Well, I mean, you might know. Hopefully, Candi Cane Cooper doesn't know about them doing that to the pig's brains.
I know.
Jeez, we got to ask her where they sit. I mean, it just, we got to ask her thoughts on what's going on with those pigs at that point then.
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's one that we're going to be debating, I think, many times on the program.
And she will be taking calls and giving readings, so make sure you take down the number. It's 844-687-7669. Again, toll free at 844-687-7669, and we'll let you guys know when we're going to open up the phone lines so you guys can call in with your questions and get a reading from Candi Cane Cooper.
Yep. All right, let's get ready to bring Candi Cane in and start this conversation.
All right, you listen to Jason and JV on Beyond Reality Radio. We'll be back after this.
blue sky here today. That's why I liked that song as a bumper song. We finally had a really gorgeous day here in upstate New York. We've been waiting a long time.
Today here in Rhode Island was beautiful as well.
Yeah.
Now it's just going to stay like that.
I was talking with a friend. We get 5 of these gorgeous days in the spring and 5 in the fall, and that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Yeah. Hey, welcome back to the show, everybody. It's Beyond Reality Radio. You're going to want to write down the phone number to join us during the part of the program where we accept your calls. It's 844-687-7669. Tonight we're talking with Candi Cooper. She is an animal communicator. We're going to talk about how she communicates with pets, living and passed on, and what they say, what they mean, why they need to communicate, how it all happens. And Candi Kane, welcome to Beyond Reality Radio. It's great to have you on tonight.
Oh, hey, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for coming on.
So let's start.
Pleasure.
Yeah, let's start at the beginning. How did you get started with all this?
Well, I get asked that question a lot. People want to know how they can develop their own skills to become a communicator. But to be really honest with you, I was basically born this way. Pretty much looking back, discovered when I was about 3 years old that I was hearing my animals. I always had a lot of pets. And my parents were very open, and I would bring everything home. And it all started with my dog, my little dog Seymour, who was a Chihuahua, who was very ill one night. And I had heard him crying outside, and I ran into my parents' room in the middle of the night, and they just told me that I was dreaming. They didn't hear anything. And I just couldn't figure out why they weren't hearing him like I was. And the next morning, he crossed over. And when I look back now, a million years later, I realized that, well, yeah, that's kind of how it went down,
So when you say that you heard it, but nobody else heard it, and you couldn't understand why no one can hear it, were you actually hearing it in your ears, or is this more of a telepathic message you were getting?
Well, I am very different from most communicators, where I do actually hear the voice of the animal, and each and every one of them is, as unique and different as we are. It's crazy, and it really helps me to do my work even better because I get even more of a sense of who they are. Some empaths just, have like an intonation or a vibration of what the animal's about, their energy. I actually just have a conversation with them like you and I are having right now.
Well, and when did you realize that you were different than most of the other people out there, that you had this ability and that others didn't?
Probably way back then when my parents didn't hear what I heard. And then, through the years, to me, it was just normal that I did this. And it just, because I'm born this way. And then, as I got older, I started to feel a little, more uncomfortable about it, like an outsider. Kind of kept it to myself until I decided that I just couldn't keep it in any longer and made it my life's work, it's been the best 20 years of my life.
And we're going to get into a lot of that, but I just want to understand this awakening you had a little bit more as you started to recognize that you had a special gift. Did you start to question where it came from? Did you do any research to figure out why you and maybe not everybody else?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think I was maybe a little bit afraid too, because I remember having conversations. I studied hypnotherapy for a while with my professor, asking him, do you think I'm schizophrenic? I mean, I'm hearing these voices because it's loud and clear, and it just comes to me simply just in the same way we're having, like I said, this conversation right now. So I think maybe I was a little afraid to address it for many years, to investigate it that way. I just felt like I knew it. It was real. I validated it all the time in my life, and I just really didn't challenge it beyond that.
Okay, let me ask this because we've talked with other animal communicators in the past,
Mm-hmm.
and
Sure.
they tend to pick up on emotions and feelings
Yes.
and things like
Yes.
that they're getting from the animals. You're actually hearing words.
Right, and I do get the emotions. I can also do remote viewing where it is telepathic, where the animal's in another state or country, and I can see what they're seeing in the room that they're in. Also, I work a lot with medical issues with a lot of high end, valuable animals. Race horses, animals that are worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, show dogs, for medical issues that just can't quite figure out what's wrong with them and guide them. I work with a lot of vets on the West Coast here, very liberal and open to what I do. So I'm very fortunate in that way.
When
So I
you
can actually feel like their pains,
so you
find
actually
out what's wrong with them.
so you actually kind of are empathetic with them. Not only do you hear them talking to you, communicating with you, but you can actually kind of feel what they're feeling.
Not kind of, I actually
Completely
do.
do.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, I do. Yeah, I can go inside their body and, test it and feel it and see what's wrong.
And does this apply to any animal, or do they have to be a certain type of animal? And when I ask that, I mean, what can you communicate with an insect just as easily
Yeah.
as a horse, or is there a certain level that it has to, a certain level of evolutionary sophistication that it has to have?
No, not really. I can communicate with almost, let me put it this way. There hasn't been any animal I haven't been able to talk with. I had an experience with an insect a few years back. I went to reach to open up my barn door, and I heard this voice say, "Hey, watch it! You almost hurt me." And I look, and it was this giant grasshopper on the door that blended in that I almost crushed him when I went to reach for the doorknob.
Oh wow!
So, yeah, it doesn't matter. There's no real level of intelligence that has a larger
So
apparatus
would
for
that
connecting.
would that indicate to you, Candy, that all animals have some level of ability to communicate, whether it's with each other or in this case with you? I mean, do they all have that level of intelligence then?
I believe so. I like I said, I've not ever met an animal that I couldn't communicate with. I had one horse that kind of didn't want to talk to me. He was very old and very tired, and he turned his back on me and basically he did tell me to go away. So I did communicate with him, but he just didn't want to engage, and I respected that.
Yeah,
I wasn't going to push him.
Yeah, you have to. Okay. We're talking with Candi Kane Cooper. Candi is an animal communicator. Her website is candykanecooper.com, and Candi is spelled with an I. We're going to continue our conversation after the break. We have a whole lot to talk about, plus we're going to take your phone calls. Candi can communicate with living pets and also those that have passed away.
And the phone number is 844-687-7669. Again, toll free at 844-687-7669. You'll listen to Jason and JV on Beyond Reality Radio. We'll be back after this.
I'm also the seventh generation granddaughter of a woman who was hanged in Salem. They said they'd seen a black mass perform in their kitchen and stuff.
The simple answer is that animals and humans have it better in the afterlife.
One of the common threads that persists on every Dogman report that I have taken is everybody gets an overwhelming sense of evil out of them.
It's Beyond Reality Radio with Jason and JV. And our guest tonight is Candi Kane Cooper, animal communicator. We're going to be taking your phone calls later in the program at 844-687-7669. Jay, last night when I was saying that phone number, I put like 3 too many sixes in there. And that was just...
Did you say 3 too many
exactly.
sixes?
I put
3 too many sixes? I mean, you lost me there.
Well, it was kind of a 666 thing. I don't know what was going on, but...
You'd have to spell that out for me just so I understood where the 3-2, is it T-O or is it T-W? I don't know.
I'll write it out. We'll
Exactly.
diagram it. We'll make it very clear.
Text it to me, and it's going to make more sense.
All right, so Candi Kane Cooper is an animal communicator. Her website is Candi Kane Cooper. Candi is spelled with an I.com. And, before the break, we were talking about, Candi, how you got started with all of this. And I was going to ask this question. You kind of already answered it, but I'd like a little more specifics if you can. I'm not sure that it's possible, but when you hear communication coming from an animal, do you have to ask for it first, or does it just come to you when they feel like they need to communicate with you, or do you have to open a channel? Like some psychics and mediums kind of have to open up a channel to make that communication start. How does it work for you?
Well, that's a really good question. When I first started doing it professionally, I was a little nervous about it because it just really comes to me very easily. So I kind of developed this little, I do like a little guided imagery with the human caretaker or the person that I'm connecting with that actually hired me to do the session. And basically it's for them to get them in a relaxed state so they can feel more of a part of the session. But honestly, I don't really need it. As soon as I am on the call, I'm in with the animal. And I mean, it's crazy. With clients that I've worked with for many years, they can just shoot me a text and 1, 2, 3, it's like game on. I'm hearing the animal is communicating. And sometimes I have one very special client. His name is Murray. He's a short-haired German dog, and he contacts me out of nowhere. And I have to, like, SOS his mom in the middle of the night and say, Murray's got this going on, Murray's got that going on, because I just can't ignore it. So he actually reaches out to me, which I love. Yeah. And I always tell his mother, well, when Murray calls collect, you don't have to pay for the session.
Well, nice. Okay. So, but it's got to.
She didn't ask for it,
Yeah. Well, it's got to be tough, though. Like you were saying a little while ago, how you went to open a door and you heard a grasshopper saying, "Look out!" and he almost hurt me.
Right.
I mean, that would make it so you pretty much couldn't even walk through your backyard without hearing endless voices of poor little creatures that you're stepping on.
Yeah, well, I don't know how I do it. People say, like you just asked, it must be difficult, but it's really a part of who I am. So it just flows with me, and all I can say is maybe this is how the animals are with each other, or like we are in a crowd with people. The conversation, it flows in, it flows out. I don't really feel drained at the end of the day. Of course, I work with a lot of heartbreaking situations, and of course I do a lot of euthanasia and all that, and that takes it out of me. But really, I'm not drained, so to speak, at the end of the day at all.
Well, and I'm not even saying being drained. I mean, picking up on all these things, like you had said, a grasshopper saying that you almost heard it. Mowing the lawn, it would be like a slaughter fest.
Yeah, well, it can be interesting, especially, if I go into an area like, it's difficult, like if I go into a zoo. I don't like that. If I go into an area with a lot of animals, it can be overwhelming, yes.
But in return, wouldn't a lot of the animals at the zoo are actually living a better life than they would in the wild, and they're there for reasons. Well, I don't know how it is out where you are, but a lot of the ones around me, they're at the zoo for the fact that they can't make it in the wild on their own. So it's a benefit to them to be there. If not, they would be deceased.
Well, yeah, it's a give and take. Sometimes they're better cared for, sometimes they're not. I'm here in LA, and we have that whole controversy with Billy, that elephant, and I saw him a few years back. It was very hard, and a lot of people tried to get me, in there one-on-one, and I just kind of stood back because it's a whole political thing. But yeah, it's a give and take. Yeah, it is.
What makes it possible for somebody like yourself, who you said you think you were born with this ability, and some people aren't, or at least they don't recognize they are? What's the difference? Are some people just genetically predisposed to this, or is it spiritual? What makes the difference between someone who can do this and someone who doesn't?
Well, that's such a good question. I ask myself that all the time because I get asked to teach this, and I won't do it because I feel that communicators, I'm going to get a lot of heat from this, but I feel that communicators that do say they can teach it are just taking people's money and giving them false hope, because if you can do it, you just know it. There's no spiritual psychic university that you can go to get a degree. I mean, everybody that I've met that has done that, between you and I that I've met, they're not for real. I mean, I don't know what they're doing, but it isn't real. So I feel that, some of us probably are born a little more tuned into this frequency, and I'm just fortunate enough to be one of them. I mean, we all can play the piano. Some of us are concert pianists, and like me, I can just play chopsticks. That's the only way I can look at it, that I'm tuned into that frequency. Just
Have you had an opportunity to talk to anybody who has realized they have this ability, and maybe it's just a question of they were at some point in their lives were willing to open their minds to it, let alone just having the skill or not, just allowing yourself to open your mind and your thoughts and your feelings to it?
Yes. I get emails all the time from people like this, and I so encourage them. And everybody out there that's listening that feels that they might have this, gift. I say the same thing to everybody. Validation is your key to, the honest truth. Work with your friends, people test yourself. And if you're getting the right answer, then guess what? You're getting the right answer. Then you're hearing the animal. It's really pretty simple.
So how do you validate? Well, how do you validate that what you're getting from the animal is actually correct?
Oh, well, one of my favorite stories, I was talking to one of my clients in China, actually, and the dog is telling me about, her purple velvet couch. They do see in color. I see a lot of color. I'll be working with a runaway, and the animal will be telling me what they're seeing at that moment, and then, the owner can drive right up and locate the animal and retrieve it. I mean, it's immediate.
Yeah, but if it's a runaway, why would it tell you what it's seeing unless it's looking to come back?
It's lost. It's giving me clues to where it's at. It doesn't know, but it's showing me, visuals of things, looking through its eyes of like where it is.
In other words, just an animal that got out on its own and got too deep into a situation.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Exactly. Yeah, things like that. Or I just had a horse today, a very high-end horse that I was working with and doing all these tests, and they think all these different things are wrong with it, and it's telling me it's something in the front right fetlock, and then 15 minutes later, I get a text back from the owner saying, oh my gosh, we had the specialist out, and guess where it is? Right where the horse let me feel it this morning. So, see things like that. And, of course, all my clients, over all the years keep coming back. So it must be real, because that's the only way I know it's real.
Let's talk about the feelings that you get, not the words, but the feelings. You said you kind of feel what the animal is going through, and I'm assuming that means if there's a medical issue, you sense that as well. Like if the animal has a stomach problem, you can actually feel that?
Yeah, I feel it inside of me, all over my body immediately. That's how I know. They don't speak it, they let me feel it.
And does that? I'm sure you've used that ability to help diagnose, but have you had vets actually be able to come in based on those feelings and that your recommendation and actually find those problems and fix them?
Yes, I have. I work with several vets. Like I said, I'm out here on the West Coast, so I was pretty progressive out here. And yes, I work with several vets through the years on situations like that where they're stumped, they can't figure it out. And the clients call me and talk to the animal, and they tell me the symptoms. Obviously, I'm not a vet, so I don't try to diagnose it, but I just relay what it feels like. And that can give the veterinarian a better clue where to look.
All right, we're talking with Candi Kane Cooper, animal communicator. Her website is CandiCaneCooper.com. Candi is spelled with an I. We're going to continue our conversation, and we're going to take your phone calls in the next hour at 844-687-7669.
You're listening to Jason and JV, Beyond Reality Radio. We'll be back after this.
Welcome back to the show. It's Beyond Reality Radio. Jason and JV. Our guest is Candi Kane Cooper, animal communicator. Tomorrow night we've got Thomas Hewlett joining us. He's the writer and author of the 12 Stakes series, which combines vampires and Alcoholics Anonymous. Talks about how addiction fuels his writing. Also talking about seeing ghosts in Los Angeles and making monsters the heroes in literature instead of the villains.
Well, okay, with vampires, if vampires hit somebody from who's an alcoholic, I mean, it thins out the blood. So what does that do? Give them more to drink, or?
Well, I would say it gets them drunk, probably. I mean, if the blood is the alcohol's in the blood, and they're sucking the blood,
out the blood, so they actually get more of it at that point.
They get more, but it's
watered down.
Dense,
well, actually, alcohol down, which
yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What are you trying to come up with?
I'm just looking for some explanation how you can mix vampires and Alcoholics Anonymous. I mean, I just don't know.
Well, we're going to find out tomorrow night with Thomas Hewlett, so join us for that. Again, tonight we're talking with Candi Kane Cooper about animals and communicating with animals. And Candi, all this discussion about talking with animals, especially, and we haven't really gotten into talking with deceased animals yet. But it leads us to a question about animals and souls. Do animals have souls?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Getting back to just before we took the break, I wanted to tell you though, I work with Dr. Nicholas Fox out here in Los Angeles, and we do like a team. We do home euthanasia. So I do a lot of, is it time for my animal to cross over? Because people do not want to make that mistake. They don't know when the right time is. It's very difficult, decision. And so we go out together, and I get to speak with the animal, and people get to have like their last, more or less, conversation with their animal in this plane before Dr. Fox, performs the home euthanasia. And it's really quite a beautiful thing. And for me, personally, it's one of the most intimate things that I feel like I do in my career.
Well,
is that moment when the animal transforms to the other side.
Well, let me ask this, though, because we brought this up numerous times throughout the show. When it comes down to putting an animal to sleep, putting an animal down, what gives us the right to be able to do that when, like, I've got a father who's got cancer and MS, but he's living and he's surviving each day. Each day is another day for him. And yes, he's uncomfortable, but the least thing he wants to do is go. And so what gives us the right to do that with animals, since we can't do it with people?
Well, people do have the right now to, basically pull the plug on themselves if they want to.
Well, that's self-assisted, suicide and so forth. But we're playing God when it comes to the animals.
Through communication, I mean, on the other side of the coin there, I've seen a lot of animals suffering because the human prolongs it, because they can't let the animal go, and that's very difficult for me to watch as well. So when I'm called into a situation like that, I'm very grateful that the animal voice can be heard.
Well, yeah.
I don't really know how to answer that question. What gives us the right? I don't know. We don't really have the right to own an animal. I hate to use that word. We're just their caretakers.
Exactly, and I 100% agree with that.
Yeah, I just try to do my best to assist and speak for the animals, but no, basically we don't have the right to do basically anything with them.
Yeah, and of course it becomes a situation where you're doing it out of caring. I mean, an animal that can barely walk, can barely get around, can't even get outside to use the bathroom, to go to the bathroom. Of course, you're sitting there and you feel bad for the animal, and it becomes that time. But also in the same, I'm a big animal guy. I've got 3 dogs, I've got 2 cats, and so forth. But also in the same, it's one of those things where you feel like you're playing God in a situation like that. And
me too. But I had a situation just last week with a dog, Bodie, and he has cancer, and the owner was for sure thinking to euthanize him, and we talked with him, and I was shocked, and he said, I want to try to fight an older dog. I want to do my best. Give me the chemo. Let me have it. I want to do all the treatments. And already he's responding the first week to the treatment. and it looks like he might go into remission. So, that's the other side too.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, Kenny, I'm going to ask. We're getting ready to go into break here, and I'm going to ask you to do something for me when we go into the break. There's been a fly buzzing around my face since we started this conversation. Would you please tell it to leave me alone at least until after the show?
Or land somewhere specific. So land somewhere specific so you can hit it with that fly swatter.
Okay, no swatting. Okay.
All right, so we're gonna take a break here. When we come back, we're gonna take your phone calls at 844-687-7669 if you want to talk to Candi. And Candi, are you going to do readings? How are we going to do this with the phone calls?
Yeah, just have them call me.
And will you communicate with their pets and with living or deceased? Okay, that's great. Okay, so again, it's 844-687-7669 if you want to talk to Candi Kane Cooper.
Yes, and if you haven't yet, make sure you head over to facebook.com/Beyond Reality Radio, like the Facebook page for us. Then head to beyondrealityradio.com. You can find all the stations we are on across the country. Now, that list is constantly being updated. New stations are being added all the time, so make sure you check it often. You can also download the free iPhone and Android app right there from the website, which allows you, again, to listen live, catch past shows, join the online chat, and more. Or any night you just want to listen at the computer, just go to the website, beyondrealityradio.com, click the pop-up button in the upper right-hand corner, and that'll pop up a chat room where you can listen to the show while hanging out with JV, myself, and just a great community of people. So, all right, we're going to take a quick break. More to come. You're listening to Jason and JV on Beyond Reality
Paranormal. That cannot be explained by scientific methods.
Told of a creature that was 6.5 to 7 feet tall.
The CIA ran secret mind control experiments.
It's a tale of a creature that's been seen by many, but believed by few.
And experts say there have been reported sightings of paranormal activity.
And there was this creature, and it ran down this hill.
They say something was flying over their house, and they have no idea what it was.
How the world's most powerful individuals are actually shape-shifting reptilians.
My scariest ghost hunting experience.
Jason and JV.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth. Can't handle the truth. Put it down.
Beyond reality. Radio.
It's Tuesday on the West Coast, Wednesday on the East Coast. Many of you are stuck somewhere in between. Welcome to Beyond Reality Radio with myself, Jason Hawes, and the always awesome JV Johnson.
I think virtually everyone has, at some point in their lives, lost an animal, a pet that they cared very, very deeply for. Pets become part of the family very, very quickly. Often they show unconditional love unless you have cats. And
my cats love me.
Do they?
My cat,
It was just a joke.
Drive me crazy.
But they do, and they become a part of the family. And there are people that look at animals, pets, and they say, they're not people, and that may be true. But man, they show some very, very human qualities. In some cases, even more human qualities than most people I know. And when you lose that pet, that part of your life, you grieve. And our guest tonight, Candi Kane Cooper, is an animal communicator. She not only communicates with animals when they're alive, with pets when they're with us, but she also communicates them when they've left us. And we're going to be taking your phone calls in just a moment. I know we have full phone lines right now, so just stay on hold. We will get to the calls. And if you're trying to call in right now, just continue to try. As we take the calls, the lines will open up and you can get through. The number's 844-687-7669. But before we get to Candi Kane, we've got a great show coming up tomorrow night, Jay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you threw me a curve.
Yeah, we're
going to be talking with Thomas Hewitt, writer and author of the 12 Stakes series, Vampires and Alcoholics Anonymous, how addictions fuel his writings.
Again, sometimes we get these descriptions. You and I look at each other and say, "How is this going to come together?" But
yeah, and you always got to wonder, like, did Slick put the comma in the right place and everything else? Because you're not sure sometimes.
I know,
but
true.
Anyway,
it's true.
So make sure you tune in because we'll be able to figure out what Vampires and Alcoholics Anonymous. How they combined? Well, I mean, how they
what the connection is. Yep. And then Thursday night, Colleen Morrow is an author, and she'll join us. She founded a magazine called Intuition, which is a magazine for higher potential of the mind. She also wrote a book called Spiritual Telepathy, and she takes readers beyond the intuition basics and introduces them to the next step, a more advanced form of intuitive perception called spiritual telepathy, which is what we'll talk about Thursday night.
I forgot. Also, I got to give a shout out to my sons. They had their birthdays Sunday and Monday. My
That's
twins.
Right. Happy
yes,
birthday.
My twins. For everybody out there wondering, my twins have different birthdays. One was born at 11:55 p.m., the other 12:19 a.m., which is great. They have their own individuality, and yes, so they turned 14.
That sounds like that sounds like one of those brain teasers. A father and a daughter, or a father and a son walk into the hospital, and there's three of them there. One of those deals.
Yeah.
One of those brain teaser things. Yeah, that's what that sounds like.
But it's fun. I mean, yeah, you wouldn't if you look at my boys. They don't even look like brothers, let alone twins.
Well, did you ever figure out who the father was?
Not yet. Yeah. But Chris is close to telling me.
Okay, you keep working on it. But welcome back to the show. Let's bring our guest back into the program so we can start taking some of these phone calls. Candi, your website is candikanecooper.com, and Candi is spelled with an I. Before we start taking some phone calls here, Candi, what things do you have on the website that people might be interested in?
I don't understand that question.
Oh, okay. Well, I know there's a whole bunch of information on. There's information about you. It talks about the services that you provide.
Yes.
It's all on your website there, and people can contact you through the website and get in touch with you to get some of these services.
Absolutely. Yeah, I work with all kinds of stuff, behavioral issues, lost animals, medical issues, again, like I said, home euthanasia, anything that you have a problem with your animal. Also, people contact me before they maybe purchase an animal or adopt an animal to make sure it's a good match. Anything that your mind can imagine that you need to know about an animal, I'm here to help you answer it.
That's great. Okay, let's go to our phone.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Did you have something you wanted to add to that?
No, that was it.
Oh, okay, all right. Let's go to our phone lines. We've got a lot of people, and I know there are a bunch trying to get through here. This is always a very, very popular topic when we start talking about this stuff because people are very, very invested in their pets, whether those pets are living or have passed on.
It's like having a child.
It really is. Let's go. Yeah. And it's a child that ultimately, in many cases, can't talk to you directly unless you have the service of somebody like Candi Kane Cooper. All right, let's go to Becky. Hey, Becky, welcome to the program. Where are you calling from?
Thank you so very much from Redondo Beach. What a great show, and I'm very deeply appreciative for being able to speak a moment.
Well, thanks for the call.
Yeah, hey, Becky. Hi.
Hi. I have a cat named Serena and one that just passed 3 months ago named Spirit, and I'm very concerned. Serena is calling out and crying out quite a bit, and she was born with stomach inside her, inside her diaphragm, and the liver, heart, stomach is all in one sack. So I was just concerned she might have lymphoma as the other cat passed, and it was kind of traumatic because I was very sick, and it was a surprise, but to put her down, I wasn't quite ready to put him down, but he was very, very sick.
The Spirit that you put down. The Spirit is the one that you put down?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Serena's the one that's currently the one that you're worried about right now?
Yes.
Okay. And, so if I'm focusing on the other side, just let me say this up front too. Sometimes humans come in to the session, so if somebody does, I will let you know, and if it's someone you don't want to talk to, we just ask them to leave, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Hi, baby. First question I have to ask you is, which is the white cat? Who's this white cat?
Oh, there's a dog named Ben that I care for that's also like 17 years old dying, but it's a red cat, Spirit, and then Serena is dark gray.
Do you have a white cat on the other side?
Oh, not that I can think of. There's like 5 cats outside that all the neighbors look after, but...
No, I mean on the other side that has crossed over?
Oh, gosh.
Because when I'm looking over there, I'm seeing a white cat, and you're saying that Spirit is red?
Yeah, he's like a ginger cat.
Okay, so just focus on him for a second. Just visualize him for me.
Okay.
And let's bring him in. Spirit, can you please come into our session right now? Okay. Thank you. Okay, I have him. And Serena, can you come into it right now with me and Mommy Becky? All right. And so you're worried that she might have lymphoma right now?
Or something, because she's howling all night long and very insistent.
For Serena right now, I'm feeling it in my chest. A little bit. It's like a difficulty breathing. Not in my heart, but right in my chest. Have you noticed any difficulty with her breathing at all? Let me feel your body, honey. Is there anything else bothering you right now? Are you crying out because you're hurting? Are you crying out for Spirit? Okay, there's a white cat that is visiting you. I don't know who this is. It's not Spirit, then. Obviously, it's another cat. Serena is seeing it, but she's crying. She is having pain.
Along the stomach area?
No, I'm not feeling it in my stomach. I'm feeling it in my chest.
Oh, for Serena or the white cat?
For Serena.
Oh, okay, yes, because her anatomy is squished into one area, so her lungs, her heart is normally would be in separate sacks. They're all in like one. So she has, I forgot the big long name
Yeah,
for
it feels very compressed and tight. Like I said, it doesn't feel like a heart issue, but it's just very heavy on my chest, almost like someone's sitting on it. And she's telling me that she's having difficulty getting like a deep breath, almost if you have like a chest cold, you know how it feels blocked in your chest? That feeling of you can't catch a deep breath. That's how she's feeling right now. And she's crying. She's telling me she's crying. It's scaring her. So why don't you tell her that she's going to be okay? Listen to Mommy, Serena. Mommy's going to tell you that you're going to be okay. Go ahead and tell her, and I'll repeat it telepathically as you say it out loud.
Okay. You're going to be fine, Serena. You're okay.
Mommy's going to do everything to make you feel better, okay? Whatever it is, Mommy's going to take good care of you. Yeah, her situation, might need to be looked at because it's scaring her. The breathing is scaring her because she can't catch her breath.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's okay. Thank you,
Becky. Thank you for the call and best of luck there.
Thank you, Becky.
Yes, thank you very much. Let's get another call in here. This is Tom. Tom is calling from Colorado Springs. Hey, Tom, welcome to the program.
Oh, am I on right now? Let me turn off my radio.
Yes, you are.
Thank you so much for taking my call. My dog Harley passed away in September.
Okay.
And I am kind of a skeptic. I want to admit that, but I'm not calling to trip you up or anything. I just want to know, does Harley have anything that he needs to say to me, or anything that I should have done for him, or anything that I should do for him now?
Okay. Just going to ask you to be open, Tom, because if you are blocking, he's going to be thinking, why am I talking to this lady if Daddy doesn't like her, okay? So just focus on him for a minute here. And you lost him how long ago?
It was in September of this past year.
Okay. Harley, can you please come into the session right now? I'm with Daddy Tom, and he wants to know if there's anything else that he could have done. Go ahead, just speak to him. He's listening. Go ahead. You ask the question.
Harley, I hope that I treated you well. It worries me, but I hope I did right by you, and I love you very much. And if you have anything to say for me, I hope you say it right now.
He says that he doesn't want you to feel guilty, that you did the right thing, and that it was he needed to go. It was his time. So you made the right choice. So if you're feeling guilty, you can release it, because I hate to say they get called, but basically it's my perspective on life. When it's time, and there's not much any of us can do about it. So he's wanting you to just release the guilt, saying that you did everything. You gave him a very good life.
Tom, thank you
Thanks you.
Yeah, Tom, thank you very much for the call. We have to move on here because we have to jump to a quick break before we can take any more of your phone calls. We're talking with Candi Kane Cooper tonight. She's an animal communicator, and our phone number, although the phones are kind of busy, but you might be able to get through, 844-687-7669.
All right, you're listening to Jason and JV on Beyond Reality Radio. We'll be back after this.
Welcome back to the show. It's Beyond Reality Radio with Jason and JV. Our guest is Candi Cooper, animal communicator. Our phone lines are full, but keep trying at 844-687-7669. And Candi, let's go right to the phone lines. We've got a short segment here, but I think we can get at least one call in. This is Liz calling from New York. Hi, Liz. Welcome to the program.
Hi, how are you guys?
Good. Welcome to the show.
Hi. I have a question. I lost my my baby 9 years ago, and I have a lot of guilt. So I was kind of hoping that she is okay.
Okay, and what is her name?
Her name was Daisy May.
Daisy May. And what kind of dog is she?
She was a Chihuahua.
Oh, Chihuahua. Was she a long-haired Chihuahua?
No, she was short hair.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, because at first I saw a Yorkie when you first started on the phone with me. So I thought she might be a long-haired Chihuahua.
Yeah, no, she was short hair.
Okay, and what is it that you wanted to ask her?
She died by the hands of a vet after an operation. He manhandled her. And I just have a lot of guilt for bringing her to that specific vet.
Oh, okay.
So I feel he caused her death.
Okay, and she is telling me, hi, Daisy. Yes, I'm here with Mommy. I thought you were a little Yorkie, but I see you're a little Chihuahua. Okay, I have Chihuahuas too. So Mommy wants to know, did you hear what she said about the operation before you crossed over? She... You were very torn before you took her to this vet. I hate to say, but you had, I don't know if it was your own feelings or bad vibes about it, or possibly you had heard different reviews about this particular vet.
Yeah.
But you decided to go ahead and do it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she knows this. And the reason she knows this is because I'm just going to share this with you. The animals are constantly reading our mind. So I'm going to say I understand why you feel guilty because you felt like you knew better, and she knows it. But does she hold it against you? Do you, Daisy? No, she forgives you. She does. She doesn't hold it against you. But I'm going to say next time you're confronted with a situation like that, follow your intuition and go with your heart, and not what you think is the right move, but what your intuition tells you instead, you know?
Liz, thank you for the phone call. We've got to go to break here, so we're going to have to let you go. And, I think what Candi is also saying here is that, you did everything you could trying to make the right decisions and do the right thing for your pet. And nobody, certainly the pet, is not going to fault you for that.
All right, so give us a call at 844-687-7669. Again, toll free at 844-687-7669. If you have any questions or you want a reading from Candi Cooper, animal communicator. You listen to Jason and JV, Beyond Reality Radio. We'll be back after this.
And welcome back to the program. It is Beyond Reality Radio. We've got a great one underway, Jay.
Yes, we do. We are talking with Candi Kane Cooper, animal communicator. And, we got full phone lines, so let's just get right back to it.
All right, let's go to, this is Beth calling in from California.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Beth.
Jason, can I mention one thing before we go to the next caller? That
Sure.
I have a special on my website right now for all your listeners, because I know a lot of people want to get in, and like I said, the phone lines are lit up. So if you go onto my website, you'll see I have a discount right now for first-time clients. So all I have to do is just click that button, and they will save $60 off their first session with me.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
All right, let's go to Beth in California. Hey, Beth, welcome to the program.
Hi. Great day.
Hi, Beth.
Thank you for taking my call. Hi.
You're on with Candi, so go ahead.
Oh, yes.
What can I do for you, Beth?
I have two cats, brother and sister, and one of my cats, she's always hungry. She's just constantly meowing for food, and she used to have a weight issue, but I finally was able to get her weight down, but I don't know why she's always hungry. And then the other one is the opposite. He's super picky and doesn't eat that much, and he seems to be nauseous a lot in the morning because he keeps drinking water, and so I just wanted to see what might be going on with them.
Oh, okay. And what is your female's name?
Malibu.
Malibu. Okay, so she's the one that wants to talk first, and she says that she really, really likes the wet food. And Malibu, why is it that you're so hungry all the time? Oh, you are still really hungry right now. You have her on a diet right now?
Well, I have to be careful how much food I give her because she'll gain weight again. So I found the right ratio to keep her at the right weight. But
she tells me you snack all the time too at night. So
I need to gain weight.
She's eating when you're eating. She wants to eat when you. She says, "Mommy, why can't I eat if you're eating?" Oh, she's got a good personality. This one. Well, Beth, go ahead. Answer her.
Because Mommy needs to gain weight and you need to maintain your weight, Malibu. That's why you can't eat all the time.
You can't eat all the time, honey. Are you feeling okay physically, or you just like to eat? Is she born in July?
August.
Oh, August. Okay. She's probably a Cancer. They just like to eat. I wouldn't worry about it. She just has a very good appetite.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I don't feel anything physically wrong with her except for and her answer is, if you're eating, why can't I be eating?
It's so funny you mention that because when I'm snacking all the time, she'll be begging for food, and I'm like, you can't eat all the time, but I need to eat. And so I was kind of getting that.
And I don't know why. Why am I smelling like vanilla ice cream? Or I don't know what that is. I'm smelling vanilla. Huh. Have you ever given her vanilla ice cream?
I'll take some vanilla ice cream if you're dishing it out.
Me too. You might want to give her a little vanilla ice cream. For some reason, she knows the flavor because I'm tasting it.
Oh, no, I don't. Never gave her that. She loves cantaloupe.
She's giving her the wet cat food. That's what she really likes.
Yeah, I do raw food with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not dry. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah. But you got to control your appetite a little, okay, Malibu? Because you got to keep your mini cat figure mini, okay? All right. Okay. Can I talk to your brother now? All right. And what's your other boy's name?
Wayfarer.
And he is not having an appetite, you said.
He just seems real picky all the time, and I don't know if it's the food he's not liking. I keep rotating the food around. And I've tried, all the kinds of different, turkey, chicken, beef.
Okay, yeah. I'm going to tell you right now, Beth, it feels to me, and again, let me say I'm not a vet, but I'm going to give you the symptoms, and I have felt this many times before. It feels like he has an ulcer. Is he a nervous type?
He doesn't seem nervous, but okay. I let him outside for a little walk in a little fenced-in area I have on the side, and goes out there and he not just meows, but he hollers all the time, and I have to keep going out and tell him to be quiet, and he'll be quiet, but I don't know why he's hollering all the time.
Yeah, you might want to have your vet look at him because right now for me, I feel like they're almost like acid reflux, like an indigestion. Could be an ulcer. Again, I'm not a vet, but I'm just telling you the symptoms that I'm feeling. Yeah, you might want to have that looked at. I think maybe if you got his stomach quieted down and feeling calm, then his appetite would pick right back up because he's telling me actually he's hungry, but he just doesn't feel like eating because his stomach ache.
Yeah, because he'll keep drinking water and he acts like he's going to throw up, and then he'll keep drinking water. So I know something's not right with the stomach.
Yeah, I definitely take him to the vet and have him checked and, blame it on the crazy communicator, but tell him what I said and, have him look at him, through his symptoms and see if he can find out what the problem is. But I'm sure his appetite will pick back up once his stomach is quieted down. But it just doesn't feel good, and it gives him a lack of appetite. But he's hungry. He really does want to eat.
Beth, thank you for the phone call. We appreciate that. Let's go to Chris, who's calling in from Kansas City. Chris, you're on with Candi Kane Cooper.
Hi. I was just going to call and ask you guys. I just got a new dog. I adopted him from Wayside Waifs. His name is Ernie. Oh. And I was just wondering if there was any way, you guys if he was happy with his new home, or I don't know, just any of the questions that you don't really get to ask dogs.
Yeah, Chris, what was the name of the dog? Was it Ernie, you said?
Ernie.
We're getting a little wind or something in the background there.
Okay. Yeah, and what kind of dog is he?
He is a black-mouthed cur.
Oh, wow. And how old is he?
A year and a half.
Year and a half. Okay. He thinks he's 7. Wow. Ernie, you're not 7. He thinks he's very mature.
Well, isn't he 7 in dog years? Isn't that was 1 year to 7 years? Isn't it something like that? Yeah. Isn't that how the math works?
Sometimes they know their number, but sometimes it's way off. Okay, but he thinks he's 7. He showed me 7, but maybe he's off. Yeah, you're a little bit off there, Ernie. What do you think of your new home? Do you like it? Are you happy that you got adopted? You're very happy. He says he knows that you took a long time making this decision, and that he's almost honored that you picked him.
That's awesome.
It wasn't like a spur-of-the-moment thing. Like, are you a Virgo? May I ask that? What astrological sign are you?
Chris, are you still there?
Chris?
I'm sorry, I'm breaking up on you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. Chris, are you a Virgo?
No, I'm a Sagittarius.
Oh, Sagittarius. Okay. Anyway, he knows that you thought about it, planned it out, and again, he feels very honored that you chose him. So he's very happy. It's a good match.
I think he chose me, but...
yeah. Congratulations.
That kind of happens, doesn't it, Chris? Thank you very much for the phone call. Let's go to Debbie, who's calling in from Missouri. Hey, Debbie, welcome to the program. You're on with Candi Kane Cooper.
Hi, thank you guys for taking my call. I love your show, first of all.
Well, thank you very much.
And the reason I'm calling is you guys can probably hear in the background, I have 2 budgies, 2 parakeets.
Okay.
One is Boomer. The other is Dusty. I'm calling more for Boomer. He's been ill. He's pretty young. He's not quite a year old. He's been ill off and on. We've had him on antibiotics, and we hope we finally got him on the right track. And I just want to make sure that he's feeling okay, and what he thinks about Dusty and what Dusty thinks about him. They haven't been in the same cage together yet because he's been sick. And just kind of wanting to make sure I'm doing everything that I need to do to make them happy.
Well, Boomer feels like he's not quite ready for the company yet, but he's very happy that you have Dusty. What's with his feathers? What is he telling me about his feathers?
Molting.
Yeah. Are you sure he's not pulling them out?
No, he's not pulling them out. He's definitely molting. He's all itchy and...
Oh, yeah, because he feels I feel it right up my shoulders, very naked, and he's like, why? What's happening? Like, he's almost a little embarrassed about the way he looks.
Well, he actually looks pretty good. He's not naked anywhere. He's quite furry, actually, quite feathery, actually.
He feels a little embarrassed that, his feathers are coming out. But as far as him feeling better with the medication, let me check his body for you. And how long has he been on the medication?
He was on it for 14 days this time. He's been on it off and on since April. And we just could never quite get him well. He would be off of it for 5 days, and then he would be ill again. And I just basically want to make sure we're not missing something.
Yeah, the only symptom besides just feeling a little funny about showing me his feathers coming out is I feel a little unbalanced, like I'm wobbling here. I'm going back and forth when I'm feeling inside of him.
Like he feels good and then doesn't feel good, feels good, doesn't feel good.
Like he's unsteady, on his legs.
Okay.
But other than that, honestly, I'm not feeling any pain or anything else.
Good.
So I'm going to say, it feels like it. I mean, what is the medication for? Have they diagnosed this issue?
Pseudomonas, actually. And we have no idea how he got it. It's a bacterial infection, and it was in his crop, and he was regurgitating a lot. And I just wanted with him molting and everything. I'm going, maybe he's swallowing feathers. Maybe it's not. Maybe that's part of it too. But
no, the only thing, I don't feel any pain there or anything like that. Like I said, just, and sometimes the antibiotics can make them feel a little woozy. I feel a little rocky in my center of gravity. But other than that, he's doing really well.
Debbie, I'm sorry, we're just running out of time, but thank you so much for the call. I hope that helped. We're going to get one more in here just because Steve has been waiting so patiently. Candi, we've got just about a minute for Steve's call, so let's try to do this one quickly. Hey, Steve, sorry that this is so quick, but welcome to the program.
Hi. I have a Russian silver fox. He is a therapy animal for me. And we recently got a new puppy, and ever since then, he's been very anxious. He screams a lot. I don't know if you know a lot about foxes. He screams a lot when the puppy is in the room, and he starts pawing at, we keep him inside a large cage in the room for his own protection because he's too curious.
Yeah, you're going to need to rehome that puppy. Sorry to tell you, Steve, it's not going to work.
Okay.
Not happy. He's not happy.
We've got a full-size collie that he loves.
Not going to work. I'm sorry.
So, just so we understand here, Candi, what you're saying is that you think that he has to find a new home? Is that what you said? Yeah, I just want to make sure I understood it properly.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't think that's going to work out. Yeah.
All right, Steve.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it doesn't.
Steve, thank you for the call.
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, thank you. We're just running out of time here. Candi, I've got a question because frequently when we have callers, they will ask, especially if their pet has passed on, and particularly if it's something to do with a medical situation and there was euthanasia involved, they ask if the pet is forgiving and understanding. And I would suspect that they always are. But have you ever encountered a situation where they weren't?
Well, I wanted to say this before we finish the show today. We had two perfect examples tonight. With the gentleman that said he was a skeptic, I didn't get a little further into the conversation, but he euthanized the dog, and the dog was very grateful. Yet he felt guilty, and the dog said, it was my time, I needed to go. And then after that, the woman who made the bad decision and the dog that died after the surgery, she knew better. The dog said it was okay, but she did make the wrong decision. And that's what I was trying to tell her. But the unconditional love thing, no, that doesn't exist. They have very decisive minds just like us, and that phrase, I think is something that as humans have kind of made up. So for all you listeners, beware, because your animals are listening and watching. So you better do a good job, because they don't always forgive you. And I wanted to make that point because we had two good examples tonight. I'm not saying that the dog that died from the surgery didn't forgive her, but right away, did you see the dog told me that she knew better, and she thought about it, and she went ahead and took her to that vet anyway.
Well, Candi, thank you so much for being with us. It was a great program, and our listeners greatly appreciate not only your insight, but taking their calls and doing readings for them.
Yeah.
It was very, very helpful.
Thank you so much for having me.
No, we look forward to having you on again. Have a great night now.
Okay, so it's Candi Kane Cooper with an I. Candi's with an I. CandiCaneCooper.com. Visit the website and check it out.
All right, we're going to take a quick break and then wrap things
Welcome back to the show. It's Beyond Reality Radio. Jason and JV. Thank you to Candi Kane Cooper. The website is the same, Candi with an I, KaneCooper.com. Check it out. She's an animal communicator. We appreciate her being on the show tonight.
And make sure you tune in tomorrow. We'll be talking with Thomas Hewitt, and writer and author of the 12 Stakes series about vampires and Alcoholics Anonymous. We're going to try to figure out what all that's about. If you haven't yet, head over to facebook.com/Beyond Reality Radio, like the Facebook page for us. Then head to BeyondRealityRadio.com. You can download the free iPhone and Android app. Allows you to listen live, catch past shows, join the online chat, and more. You can also find all the stations we are in across the country, and we're constantly updating that list. We're about to add more stations. We just added a couple the other day, another one in Atlanta and Providence, Rhode Island, my home state. And you can find the updated list right there from the website. Catch a station in your area, or just listen from the website. If you download the show from iTunes or anywhere else, just do us a favor and rate it for us. It helps push it forward and makes it easier for people to find, and that's pretty much what it's all about.
It is, and we appreciate you doing that.